My name is David Pollandon and I work for International Justice Mission Canada here in the Prairies. And we're back again just to share a little bit about IJM's response to COVID-19 and just how we're navigating the waters of continuing to protect people in poverty from violence during this time of pandemic. So I'll be sharing about that and also be meeting in a little while a fellow Brit who's moved over here to Canada, and she really is a champion of justice, and in the UK she actually won an award for being a very good blog writer. So she'll be sharing a bit about her passion for justice and also her passion for IJM. So IJM is responding in three ways during this time of COVID-19. The first way is an immediate response to help people who are affected by COVID-19 and need help now. And so first of all, I want to share a story from Chennai with a casework partner, which is the Foundation for Sustainable Development, the FSD. And they have been partnering with a crowdfunding organisation called iPro Bono to provide relief materials to vulnerable tribal communities and migrant labourers. In the first half of July, they distributed relief kits to more than 1,800 families and individuals, and you can see pictures of it there. Incredibly, in the last quarter, IJM have worked with more than 800 partners to provide direct COVID relief to more than 50,000 people. In one example, our partners, the RBLA, the Released Bonded Labour Association, and these are people who were themselves in slavery and have been released, and they've formed a very powerful association to help others who are still trapped in slavery. They managed to distribute more than 1,600 relief kits in one day to vulnerable families. So for a near-term response, I've come into our kitchen and I'm just going to go into the fridge here and grab a bag of mangoes, which I bought earlier today from Walmart. And we're going to go outside and I'm going to explain to you why these mangoes are significant in our next story. So as I said, this story involves a mango, and it's actually a story of a couple who had been imprisoned in servitude on a mango farm in India for 20 years, and they simply were just too scared to reach out to anybody, to tell anybody, because the owner, the slave owner, had so much power and control over them. Well, eventually they did reach out to somebody, and that was the RBLA, who we were talking about just a little while ago. They reached out to them partly because they knew that they had been in their predicament. They were someone they could trust. And so once they reached out to the RBLA, they were able to come in and involve law enforcement and actually rescue, with IJM as well, this couple from this mango farm. Something that's quite disturbing actually is we actually don't know where our food comes from a lot of the time. And when I bought these from Walmart, I actually asked 3 different members of Walmart's staff, do you know where these mangoes come from? And nobody could tell me. So I guess that's something for us all, that it's really important that we know where our food comes from, because it could be a couple just like those in India who are being put into servitude and slavery to get food for us, which really is a luxury. So for a long-term response, we're continuing to work with governments to protect people in poverty from violence. And so I've come today to a building site, and you can see behind me these shipping containers. We're obviously used to seeing these at train crossings, aren't we? Count how many go past or see which countries they come from. Well, in Uganda, the IJM team there have been working with the police on a pilot project to repurpose these shipping containers to use as a safe and comfortable space for survivors of violence to share their stories. What they've got are things like a model interview room, they have a waiting room, they have an observation room, and all done in shipping containers. Far more easier, far more friendly and private. Also, they have the state-of-the-art audio video equipment which they can use, and actually it means that trauma-informed gathering of evidence can be done, and this is so key so that victims of violence don't have to go through being re-traumatized again and again by sharing their story. They just need a good video with good sound, and once is enough. Also, going forward, IJM will train law enforcement personnel on how to use the interview room and the audio video equipment, and so that means they can secure court-worthy evidence and trauma in a trauma-informed way. So really a very creative way of using something quite normal and not actually that spectacular in a spectacular way. So here I am with my fellow Brit, Amy Dyas, and I'm going to ask her a few questions. So my first question, Amy, is tell us a bit about yourself.
So my name is Amy Dyas. I'm a mum of 2 kids and a husband who is very patient and loving. I come from London in England, and we have travelled a lot.
Tell us, why are you passionate about justice, or what started it?
So God took me on a journey of healing, which took quite a long time. And he'd kind of been knocking on my door about it for a number of years, and I hadn't really known how to go forwards with it. I felt like God suddenly said, now that you're free, you have to start focusing on other people being free. So my pastor at my church gave me the book, The Locus Effect, and he said he thought that was a really great place to start if I had these newfound feelings for justice. And eventually my patient husband got fed up of me ranting about it at home, and he said, really, you should set up a blog. I contacted IJM Direct and said, would they be happy for me to share some of the stories from the Locus Effect? Not the statistics so much, but actually those particular stories about, people with names. And that is now one specific part of the blog, is those stories. And then there's another bit to it, which is, what does slavery look like? Because I don't think people tend to understand that it's your local nail bar, it's the car wash, it's these things that are part of our everyday life. And I felt like God wanted me to encourage people that if we're going to have any kind of change in human rights, then it has to start within our own hearts, within our own neighbourhoods. And so the bigger race needs to start there, because if we're going to love people in other countries, then we have to kind of start at home first.
Amy, what does the future hold?
So for the future, I'm in the middle of writing a course on freedom, which is something that I feel really excited about. I feel like God has really put that on my heart, because when you see the IJM rescues, you also know as a supporter that then there's more work to be done after that initial rescue. There's the spiritual, the emotional side of freedom that then needs to come, which I know IJM do a lot of work in, and I think the course that I'm writing is along those lines. I'd just like to encourage us all, anyone who is involved with IJM or the work that they do, just to keep on running that race, because my blog is actually called Let's Run the Race. And it's an organisation like IJM means that everyone can be a part of it. I love to write, and that's kind of one of the ways in which I support IJM, but there are lots of different things that we can all be doing. And I think that's one of the great things of an organisation like this. So just where your heart lies is what you can do to help.
Thank you, Amy Dyas, for sharing your passion for justice, and thank you to you, our IJM supporters, for helping us protect the poor from violence during this time of COVID-19. And if you want to just catch up on all the news that's going on, do go onto our website at igm.ca, and do follow as well. I've got 1 week of my fundraiser left. So if you go into #UnsafeInLockdown, there you can just see what I'm getting up to, who I'm visiting, and just get some breaking news stories as well of rescues that we're doing. Look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Stay safe and goodbye.